Bread pudding's got to be one of the easiest desserts to make, but it can get kind of boring. So how about we do a little twist? We use croissant instead, and we make our own caramel sauce. Let's get cooking with style. We're going to make this a little bit more custardy, so we're going to use whole egg yolks in this. And if you don't know how to do it, it's really quite simple. Give the egg a good crack, split it in half, and make sure you put the egg whites in a separate bowl. Give it a little shake, and in you go. To this, I'm going to add sugar, and if you don't want a whole cup, you don't have to use it. I've got nutmeg and cinnamon, and then instead of raisins, we're using craisins, in other words, and then I'm going to put half and half, not milk. We're going to be using a richer form here. And we're just going to give this a good little mix here. And you really want to make sure it's incorporated very well. And we get it all nice and mixed up really, really well. All right, to that, I'm going to add a good pinch of salt and then a teaspoon of vanilla, and use real vanilla. It really does make a difference. Again, a nice whisk. And for your croissants, I want you to use day olds, at least, all right? And I've got 6 here that I've torn apart and let them dry out. The key to this, though, is letting it soak. So we're gonna mix this in and let it soak for at least a half hour before we transfer it. And you can see how that's much more soaked in? So let me show you what we'll do with that. We'll take this. We've got our Pyrex pan already buttered up, and we're just going to put that right in like that, okay? And we'll spread that around. This one's been soaking. We'll give it a little shake, and now that's ready to go in the oven. So the croissant bread pudding's been resting for about 30 minutes. My oven is preheated to 350. These are going to go in. We've got our breakfast one and our dessert one. We'll keep an eye on those. While those cook, let's get this caramel sauce going. A half stick of butter, some brown sugar, and then we're going to put a little bit of cream in here. We're using heavy cream. We're going to melt this down, bring it to a boil. This is going to take about 5 minutes, and then we'll have caramel sauce. So we're just going to finish off this caramel sauce. We've let it simmer for about 5 minutes. Shut the heat down, in fact, off before you put in the vanilla. We're putting in about a teaspoon. The reason you turn it down or off is because there's alcohol in it and you don't want it to flare up. And then I like to put the kosher salt in the end because those big chunks will be in the sauce when you put it on top of your bread pudding. Let's get these guys out. Oh my gosh. All right, there's breakfast tomorrow. This is dessert tonight. Let's go plate it up. Now, if you were serving this for dinner or a dessert, you probably want to let this rest. But for what we're doing right now, I'm going to go ahead and plate this up. Just keep in mind, this is very hot if you do this at home. And we're going to take a nice scoop like that, put it on our bread, the bread pudding, our croissant bread pudding, on like so. And then now this wonderful homemade caramel sauce. How good is that, huh? Let's just drizzle that over the top. And if you're like me, you like just a little bit extra, put it around the side like they do in the restaurants. Okay, wow, if you could smell this now. I gotta tell you what, this bread pudding is actually pretty easy. The twist is the croissants, and we're using the cranberries. If you'd like the recipe for this croissant bread pudding, of course it'll be on our website, cbs8.com. And don't forget, we're doing a half-hour special on CBS 8, as well as streaming on our streaming channel, CBS 8 Plus. Enjoy.